Welcome to my INTJ video, and today I'm going to be talking about what it's like to be a guy and an INTJ. And some women will want to hear this just for the relational issues, because if you are married to an INTJ and you do not understand these things, you're going to have a very bad time with your spouse. So that'll help you there. So let's get started. Perhaps you've read the book Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. If not, I recommend that you read that. It's a very interesting book. Well, in it says that every man has a space that is a box, and it's called a do-nothing box. See, women are like waffles. All their thoughts are connected, but men's thoughts are one box, one time, open that, close it, open it, close it. Well, you see, for an INTJ, we have that do-nothing box that every man has, where we don't want to think about things for a time. Okay, but the INTJ box knows where that box is located, and he can pull it open and close it whenever he wants. Okay, it's a choice. It's not just a defensive mechanism that kind of instinctively kicks in like it does for other guys. We're more aware of exactly what we want to. What state we want to be in. If you do not respect that space as a woman, okay, every man needs a personal space, needs a do-nothing box or a personal space where he intends to do something, if he's opened that box. If you are the spouse of an INTJ man and you do not respect that space, you are going to have a very bad day. Trust me on this. In fact, my wife just wisely told the kids, hey kids, Dad's about to make a video, don't open the door unless you want an axe flying through your head. So if you open the door, prepare to dodge a flying axe. Okay? She has learned that she better respect that space, because that's just how we are. We open that space, we tell everybody we're opening the space, and we tell you do not invade that space at peril of your own risk. Number two, when we go dark, let's talk about darkness. Everybody has a dark side. Every personality has a dark side. But the INTJ dark side is a little more frightening than other people's dark side, because, one, we're not just going to go do random bad things, or, we're not the drive-by shooter type. If we go dark, it's going to be very calculated, extremely manipulative, and we're going to win. It's a really bad day if you are the victim of an INTJ's very subtle dark aggression, because you will be destroyed, plain and simple. Also, we don't have that need to publish what we do. We would not be the it was that guy in Montana that would put bombs out and then occasionally leave clues and stuff. But anyway, like these killers that leave clues and things, we would never do that. If we became a killer and you're an INTJ, you would just go do it. And you wouldn't kill random people. You know exactly who and why. We wouldn't be seeking notoriety, because we don't even care about that. There wouldn't be any emotion involved before, during, or after the act, because we don't really deal with emotion very well to begin with. And we would believe it's the only logical choice left for us. That's the whole reason we're doing it in the first place, so it would be completely without feeling. Very cold and very calculated. So don't cross an INTJ. He will destroy you. So keep that in mind. Well, number three, let's see, see, an INTJ sees his entire life from beginning to end. We're big picture people, and one day in the 8th grade, I began a conversation with all the future quote-unquote me's that I would ever see in my life, in different states of being and different years of my life. And I looked forward in time and realized I wanted to have a conversation with them, and I told them my plans and my dreams. And I could take you to the exact spot where I did that. Well, throughout my life, I have been talking to that little 8th grade young boy and been reviewing those parts to see, okay, well, I'm sorry I didn't quite measure up here. Hey, I got to do this after all, just like I told you, And I talked to all the other me's throughout the pictures of my life. So I'm already talking to the me that's in the retirement home. I'm already talking to the me in my 50s and 60s or whatever. Hopefully that becomes a retirement home. That's not where I want to go. But so we're big picture people. We plan out our entire lives. We see things 5, 10, 15, 20 years in advance. Here's something, part 4 here, number 4. An INTJ does not swim in the shallow end of the pool. In fact, we will drown in the shallow end of the pool. You say, no, wait a minute. You meant to say that people drown in the deep end. No. Other people drown in the deep end. An INTJ will drown in the shallow end of the pool. Okay? If you approach an INTJ with shallow conversation, shallow people, shallow thinking, we have zero tolerance for that. So we're going to ignore what you're saying, zone out. We might nod our head, and if we've learned enough to be polite, which I did not know for a very long time, okay, we will nod our heads and act like we're following the conversation, but odds are our thoughts are on a whole nother planet far away, and we had no idea what you're saying. So if you wanted to talk about sports or hunting or gossip or whatever, probably if an INTJ is nodding his head saying yes, he has no idea what you're saying. So we do not live in that space, and if we try to be in it too long, we'll be most uncomfortable. We'll try to get out of it because our life is in our heads. So you might be asking yourself, well, if I'm married to an INTJ person, where do I fit in? I had to explain this recently to my wife again because she asked me this, so where am I in your picture? And it's going to sound really cold and calculating because in a sense it kind of is, but there's a bright side to it. You see, in a relationship, an INTJ will place you in a part of the big picture of what he wants to accomplish, which means you're not the center of that picture. It means you're a piece of a web that is much, much larger. Now, if he sees that vision as important, and he does, okay, and most INTJs are male. I was actually shocked to see that there was a female INTJ on YouTube, and I was like, wow, there's me with boobies. What do you know? Anyway, but they're rare. But most of the time, it's a man. So if you are married to an INTJ man, your part and your role to play, the best thing you could do is help him with that big picture. If you are aiding his goal and his dreams and his desires in life, you are an integral piece of that puzzle, and he will see you with a huge amount of value. You will be inseparable. You will be cherished and loved. Because you are helping with his goals, dreams, and desires, and or his worldview and his think, helping him establish that bigger picture in his head. So remember that. If you don't do that, you're probably going to be not real happy with your relationship, ladies. I'd love to hear if there are any lady INTJs out there, what you would think about that from the other perspective. Could be interesting. Number 6, it's perfectly fine if you want to tell us our faults. INTJs are notorious for being able to hear and listen to other people criticize us. Now, if the criticism is particularly constructive and well-intentioned, we actually feed off of that sort of critique. However, be warned, if what you're doing is just emotionalism and you're trying to manipulate us, we have no use for emotions. We're not in touch with our emotions, and we can see through what you're doing. So you will have your butt handed to you if you try to manipulate us. We are masters at knowing how to manipulate if we want to, because we understand that people who are not INTJ tend to be a little more shallow on that end, and we can choose to go in and out of a fictitious state of emotion as needed to get what we want. So manipulating is well understood by us. Doesn't mean we necessarily choose to do it, but we understand it very well, and we'll see that coming a light year away, and it simply will not work on us at all. Although, okay, every once in a while, even when we do see it coming, every once in a while we like to see the cutie eyes. You know, as a guy, any little, you know, if your little kids come up to you and give you the cutie eye, yeah, okay, it might work, but not because he tricked us or manipulated us. We just like it. Okay, everybody likes to see the kids being sweet, right? Okay, so feel free to tell us our faults, but don't try to manipulate. Next, number 7, we are pattern recognition people. Okay, our lives, our heads, we recognize the patterns in life. So we can see people's personalities and see their futures extremely well. Interestingly enough, and I still amaze my wife and others like this. Back when Hannah Montana was a thing, I would tell my wife, I said, let me explain something to you about this Hannah Montana character. Okay, she just had that TV show. I said, you're not going to understand how I know this, and I'm not even sure that I understand how I know this, but I do. Trust me, watch this. I said, when she is done with the Hannah Montana show, she is going to turn so hardcore evil that you won't even understand how it happened. I said, and then we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to say, look back and remember that I told you this was going to happen, because I can just tell. I mean, I could try to explain it to you, but even most of you probably wouldn't understand what I'm saying. But really, it's just a pattern. So we see patterns like this. And of course, you know, she went hardcore evil and is full Illuminati, Satanist. Even her dad says she's in with the devil. So, it's the way it is. So we are pattern recognition people. If you want to see the future or make a prediction or something, talk to an INTJ, because he's probably already thought about it, probably already has something in mind. So many times throughout my life, I've been able to see things that nobody else in the room could see. I saw up in First Baptist Church of Hammond, I could see Dr. Scott conflicting with his worldview and not sure that he believed what he said, but I knew that he wouldn't see me as an important person enough to be able to tell him anything, so I didn't bother to mention it or tell anybody else. So it was just like, well, I'll just mind my own business because we're not going to listen to me anyway. But it was clear as day that he was very conflicted about his life way before all the bad things that happened and ended up putting him in jail. Okay, so a lot of times with our pattern recognition skills, we see things that you can't see. So not everything. I'm not saying we're omniscient or anything, but you know we want to be. But if you want to make a prediction, if you want to see years ahead, 5, 10, 15, 20 years ahead, we're the people to talk to. Because we see the entire universe is just this big web. Everything's connected to each other. Pull here and it affects 50 other strings, okay? Not too long ago, I was sitting at a Shoney's restaurant. Actually, technically I was working, but I was sitting at a Shoney's restaurant. No details there, but this waitress came up, very young waitress, about, she couldn't have been more than 19. She's probably, I don't even think she was that. I think she's probably working part-time, probably about 17. And anyway, she was actually married, and I began to tell her about her life in front of her. Like, she just started talking about her relationships and problems that she had. But I would finish all of her sentences and then go on and tell her every last detail about how she thinks and feels about everything. And she was just amazed, dumbfounded. She's like, it's like you know everything about me. It's like you know my entire life. And of course I played the game. I'm like, yeah, pretty good at that thing, you know. I understand these things really well, and you know, stuff like that. But really, she's just a pattern. Okay, it's just something we've seen a million times. Very predictable pattern, and we understand all of it. I could probably tell her where she's going to be in 20 years too. But she didn't turn her life around, but I didn't do that. But I could have. Like I said earlier, you got to give us our space, and we need huge amounts of it. Okay. I just had a little conflict here a little bit ago because I wanted to make this video, and I was being distracted by the family, and I'm just like, I need my space. This is on my mind. And they're like, well, we are going to leave you alone. I said, that's what I asked for. Leave me alone. Let me go make a video. It's what I want. So, to me and to INTJs, we could sit and stare for hours trying to sort out the information in our heads. Until we get that out of our minds, nothing else is going to matter. So, if you try to pull us away from that, it'd be like pulling a mule. You're not going to be able to pull us away until we get those whatever's in our heads settled. And most of that involves needing space to just live in our heads for as long as necessary. Sometimes for hours, not always. Sometimes it could be quick, but most of the time it'll be hours. Sometimes even a few days on some occasions where it's just like, just don't talk to me. I haven't sorted this out in my head yet, and maybe 3 or 4 days. That don't happen too often, but it does occasionally happen. 9, if you perceive an INTJ is criticizing you, understand we're just detaching a principle from any emotional or relational aspects that we have with you. We are not speaking to you because we're upset, offended at you, or whatever. You think we're judging you. You see it in our eyes. We have that death stare glaze, okay? But what we're really doing is we are looking for principles and patterns, and we're simply just trying to fit that into our overall web. It's not about you, okay? It's not what's going on. We instinctively see processes and principles as far bigger than people. And definitely far bigger than the emotions of other people. So just, you know, thanks Spock from Star Trek. That's us, okay? In fact, I always felt like I really, really felt close to that character, okay? Just think logically, okay? Emotions are not really all that important. And let's see, number 10. Value our insight or go to the devil. Okay? So, if you do not take the time to appreciate the fact that we have insight, we are not going to appreciate the fact that you are near us. I know it sounds so condescending. But we trust our minds very highly. I'm just trying to explain this to you so you can understand us, okay? That's why you're watching this video, because you want to understand us. Well, that's what's going through our head. Value our insight or we'll just dismiss you. It's the way it is. You no longer have value to an INTJ. You're the spouse of an INTJ. You do not want to be in this space. Value your INTJ's insight. If he's giving you a long, detailed lecture about things, at least pretend. Appreciate the fact that he's taking the time to tell you. But don't tell him that all that's just stupid and dismiss the whole thing. It will put you in a box you do not want to be in, folks. Because we value our perception far more than we value anybody else's thoughts, opinions, feelings, or perceptions. Because we very much trust what's in our own heads. And number 11, are INTJs robots? Yes. In fact, Sophia, the supposed robotic humanoid over in Saudi Arabia, that is not actually a robot. That is an INTJ in a disguise. Okay. No, it's not really. If you cut us, yes, we will bleed. Tomorrow. Today, however, we will not bleed. We will sit there and look cold and calculated like we don't care. But what's going on after you just insulted us is that we are processing what you just said. We have not come to any conclusions. Cut off an INTJ's arm, and he will stand there and look at you like, why did you do that? And he'll think about it, and tomorrow it'll start to bleed just a little bit. And then by the end of tomorrow, it'll be a puddle of blood on the floor. Well, that's how we are. We do bleed, but it's going to take time because we have to process what you just said. It's not just going to be some instinctive reaction. Then, once we do process it, if we bought into your argument, it'll cut deep, and it'll remain much longer than it will for other people. And it'll stay until we eventually process a way to resolve it in our heads. However, if we come to the conclusion that it was just emotional manipulation, you'll probably just get dismissed completely at some point. So let's see, number 12, do not tell us to stop analyzing everything. That's what we do. Okay, you want to go in our crap box real quick? Yeah, you're going to go in our crap box if you just tell us, you don't have to constantly analyze every last thing you see. No, you don't understand. Yes, we do. Yep. 24/7, 7 days a week, out shopping, at a restaurant, at the movies. Everything we read, say, everybody we see and hear. Yes, we have to analyze it. Yes, we have to make it connect to every last thing that's ever happened in our entire universe. So, don't tell us we don't have to. Yes, we do. 13, the herd. We will never be a part of your groupthink, so just don't even try. Okay? The biggest mystery in the world to an INTJ is why any person would believe anything or do anything based on groupthink. In fact, what allowed me to find the problems with Trump is that I recently went to a Trump rally, and while everyone else was standing up and cheering and going crazy, I was able to sit quietly and observe, and I realized, and I came to my senses. It's a good way to come to your senses, is to watch what everybody else is doing and not do it for a minute, and suddenly you'll start to begin to see the fallacies in it. And that kind of began my wake-up process that something was wrong here. Groupthink is always wrong. Groupthink is always bad, and INTJs will not be a part of groupthink. Concerts, pep rallies, they're insults to our intelligence. An INTJ has no patience for that sort of stupidity. We see right through that everybody's just standing up and cheering mindlessly, and just because somebody told them to or is on a stage, and that's just not a good reason. And for that reason, number 14, we can never, as an INTJ, be popular. Because even if we're successful, we're still going to be trapped in our mind that is constantly analyzing, always correcting, always finding the problems. So even if we're at the top, we're going to constantly still analyze and scrutinize everything. If we've succeeded massively, we're no better off for it, because it's just going to be a process that never ends. And we couldn't stop it if we had to. It's just intrinsic in our minds. Okay, 15. If we can't see where the problems are coming from, like we're having some sensing issues, not understanding humanity, we're likely to just give up, okay? It's kind of like an all or nothing sort of mentality. So for 15, we'll call that the all or nothing. If we don't think there's a chance of making this happen, we just won't even try, okay? Competition is not particularly fun for us. However, I have won some pretty good competitions. Used to go to a church where, I don't know, probably 10,000 people or something, and I brought the most visitors to church and won a trip to the Philippines, and I brought like 89 people to church or something. Drove them all on the buses. Of course, I could only drive one of the buses, so I had to get some other drivers too. But We can occasionally win if we think it's within our sights, if we're concentrated on it, because we'll give everything that we think. But if we think there's no chance, yeah, okay. We're not interested much in competition, especially for competition's sake. If we are to compete, it's most likely because what we're competing in is just a part of our overall worldview, and we consider what we're doing important. We don't really care about the competition itself. Our story is always the same. We start out as a superhero. We go out and we try to conquer the world. We do really good. I've been listening to other INTJs online, and it's always the same thing. Because we didn't figure out how to deal with people, we always get the crap kicked out of us, and then we get down for a long time. For me, it was about 12 years until we start working on those things a little bit, and then we start recovering and trying to build another worldview. So, sarcasm, number 16. An INTJ is what we call mild Aspergers syndrome. It's the same thing. I saw this little meme. I thought it was great on another video. Some people's souls just need to be crushed. Yeah, that's INTJ sarcasm right there. You know the statue of the thinker, the guy that sits like this, butt naked. Well, I think he's an INTJ actually, and he's just saying, I'm not a statue, I'm just an INTJ trapped in my head the last 2,000 years. Still hasn't occurred to me yet that it might be important to wear clothes. Typical INTJ Christian might say, yeah, I want to be a pastor, I just hate people. Big picture worldview, but not so big with the relational issues. Another one I saw, welcome to INTJ, where sarcasm is the default tone and every plan ends in world domination. That's pretty good. All right, now 17. Everything in life is about cause and effect. So we are seeing the relationships between all things like a big web, so we see what causes everything. Most people, for some reason, unbeknown to us INTJs, don't seem to care about that. And I don't understand why, because if you understood the cause, you could probably stop a lot of the things from happening that you don't want to happen. These things are usually crystal clear to us, but completely foggy to everyone else. Okay, and 18. Our life as an INTJ is just to observe and meditate. So that's where we want to be in our life. We just want to be in our heads. We want to observe. We want to meditate. We're not great at being first in command. I did make it to foreman of a factory back when I was 19 or 20. But the foreman was the guy under the supervisor. I would have hated to have been the supervisor. But as a foreman, I wasn't on top, but I could also make a great second in command. We're wonderful second in command people. We'd step up if we felt that everybody around us really had the desire for us to step up in the first place, but we wouldn't feel very comfortable there. We're great at just offering suggestions and trying to help somebody else accomplish a bigger picture, because we want to have the time to actually think, to resolve the issues in our head first, so we can pass it on to somebody else. We're not real big at trying to be the person with all the responsibility on our shoulders, though we can if need be, and we feel that other people want us to be. 9. Your, meaning you non-INTJs, lack of desire to find the underlying purpose is extremely annoying to us. The fact is, we feel that everything has a purpose. Like we said, cause and effect. And if the fact that most of you non-INTJs don't want to do that, that is terribly, terribly frustrating to us. We do not understand how you can live without establishing why and how everything works. And that's just a genuine mystery to me, honestly. I don't understand, because to us it feels like everybody else in the world is just really shallow. So conversely, number 20, everyone thinks that INTJs are arrogant. just because we think you're stupid. I don't understand that. Okay, no, not really. We're just judging your usefulness to our overall worldview. We're not really judging you as a person. We're just judging you as if you have any practical value towards what we see as something far bigger. We don't mean to be arrogant. I don't think of myself, for instance, as being an intelligent person. I don't feel intelligent. I don't think I'm intelligent. However, my entire life, everybody around me has always said that I'm really intelligent. Well, I don't think I am. I just think I'm interested in a lot more things than most people are interested in. And that I may have some measure of vocabulary, but if you found anybody who's actually smart in any one of those areas, that person is probably much smarter than I am. But that one person might be smart in one area, but isn't interested in anything else. So INTJs are generally interested in, have a lot of specialized interests. And so we know a little bit about a whole lot of different subjects, but not things not in things that don't matter, like pop culture, rock and roll music or something stupid like that. So 21. Yeah, we are just a little bit paranoid. Imagine having our mind, it's the Nietzsche complex, okay? We analyze and understand the cause and effects for everything, so we have a pretty good idea of where this world's going. And we understand that nobody around us does, so yeah, it'll make you a little paranoid. Look at all the philosophers and all the dictators and all the people that run things. They tend to get a little paranoid because they see more than you do. And the world's a scary place. So yeah, a little paranoid, a little looking over our shoulders, pretty normal for an INTJ. And philosophers, generally speaking, not huge on the whole scholarship thing, so it's kind of easy for us just to skip over facts. We know what we know, but we don't always know exactly how we got there. I get accused all the time on Facebook. We're not real big on scholarship, and we don't really trust other people's opinions much anyway. So we formulate an idea, and sometimes we don't always back it up as well as maybe we should, because we already just trust our opinion of how we think things are. 23. My main desire in life. All I want in life is just to know everything, understand everything, and see everything. Yes, it's the typical INTJ omniscience complex. That's all I want. I just want to know everything, see everything, understand everything. Doesn't mean I want to get there, okay? I'm trying to be a little bit real. And even if we got there temporarily, we'd forget half of it, and then we had to go back. So it never ends. It's just an ongoing cycle that'll still be going on until we completely lose our minds or, croak. So that's the way it goes. Number 24, knowing how, where, and why everything did and will happen is why I love gematria. So that's why, even though this INTJ is going in my personal folder on my YouTube channel, I have a gematria folder too. You might look at that. I've been decoding a lot of interesting things, but it tells you so much about how, where, and why, and it is like an INTJ's paradise to get into gematria because we see the patterns so clearly. In fact, I feel like I've only come across it recently, but I feel like it's opened up a whole new understanding of reality. And more of that you understand, the better. If you don't, just listen to some of us that do and take our word for it because it's real and it's happening and has been happening for thousands of years, actually. It's not some new idea. 25. I was named appropriately as an INTJ. My name is Greg, which comes from the word egregorosa, which means watching. So I put up little stickers sometimes that people don't understand why I'm doing it. And I always say, I'm always watching, always watching. But that's just referring back to my name for those that might just now be figuring that out. So Greg means watcher, watching. Even the watchers in the book of Enoch are called the Gregori. So is that providence that I was named Greg and I consider myself an INTJ watcher? Yeah, I think it is. 26. We have an impressive vocabulary, but we cannot articulate our points well at all. In fact, if I hadn't wrote all this out, I'd just be sitting there going, Okay, we write vastly better than we speak. Words do not come to us. We are not off-the-cuff thinkers at all. And I thought I had 4 more points, but they must have been in my head. Because usually what's in an INTJ head we think actually came out. There was actually a time in my life where I had to sit down and realize that most of the things that I thought in my head, I never actually said, so most people don't think it. It was like a big relief off my shoulders. I was like, wow, it just occurred to me I never actually said those things. They were just all in my head. So, that's the end. I'd like you to like, share, and subscribe. Please leave comments, because talking about personality types, even your personality type, even if you are shallow, I still want to hear from you. Especially INTJs and female INTJs. You might want to provide the opposite perspective there. And give me some comments, give me some likes, hit the little bell. You'll get more notices from future videos. And thanks for watching.